Thank you. Good evening. Shalom, shalom, family. I hope we are all doing well. I hope we had a wonderful day. And please, I can see that some people are still joining. So if you know of someone who is supposed to be here now, please do well. Send them a message or give them a quick call so that they join and not miss anything. All right. So without wasting much time, I'm not sure, is Pastor here? Pastor V?
Hello.
Hello. All right. Thank you. Shalom, shalom, Deaconess.
Good evening. Shalom.
Good evening. Please, may you help us with a quick opening prayer?
Okay, Father, we thank you. We give you thanks for the privilege to learn of you today. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your sustenance. We pray and declare that today's meeting will be a blessing and that you will grant unto us the spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of you, that the questions in the hearts of men will be answered. In the name of Jesus, we don't want to speak of our own accord, but we want to speak your heart. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Deaconess. Okay, once again, shalom, shalom, everyone. And those who are still joining us. All right. So today is part 2 of our question and answer session that we had last week in our School of Love, Dating, and Marriage. And I believe many people have many questions. Many people had questions, but the time wasn't enough. So we thank God for this opportunity that we are able to continue today. And today we are joined by our own wonderful, beautiful, amazing deaconess, Mrs. V. Mrs. V, you're welcome and we are blessed to have you.
Thank you.
And media team, can you also help me spotlight Mrs. V? All right. And we also have the Lindsays with us.
Hello.
Hi.
Us here to help us answer some of the questions that we have. Fire emojis. Hello, good evening. We are blessed to have you. I'm not seeing the fire emojis, the heart emojis. Are we not excited about this session? Because I am. Okay. We can see the fire emojis coming. Okay. Welcome, everyone. And please, if you still have more questions that you haven't sent to me, just send them to my inbox and I'll be reading them. And I'm sure they will try to answer as many questions as they can if the time permits. So without wasting much time, I will get to it. So I'll read our first question. Okay. It says, is it good to end the relationship back home, looking at the distance, and embrace open up relationship overseas as a traveler because of the emotional stress that comes with it? And also you realize the relationship back home is fading and you are being approached by other people.
Miss
Yeah.
Over to
Lindsay
you.
is ready.
Yes, because I say yes because this question, it's giving us the information, right? The relationship is fading, it's stressful, end it. That's it. Because if the question was we're trying to work through the distance and I would definitely be all for it, because obviously my husband and I we have been in a long distance relationship, married almost 5 years, married and still in a long distance relationship. So if you are trying to make the relationship work, then definitely push through and keep going. But if it's fading and it's becoming stressful with any relationship, even if it's not long distance, if it's becoming stressful, end it, because that's not what a relationship is supposed to be.
Very short and spicy.
Wow. Okay, very short and straight to the point. I love it.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. So much. Mr. Adrian?
For me, I'm not going to be so sharp, but at the same time, she did make it clear that if it's a case where you're trying to make the relationship work, then by no means put your all in it. And sometimes the separation shows you how strong the foundation is that you have laid. Sometimes you did not lay a good foundation because you're together, you're so in love, you did not spend the time to know each other on a deeper level. You did not spend the time to create that bond and that trust. So as soon as you traveled, it's like suddenly everything is a problem, and everything becomes difficult. Also, sometimes traveling as well, sometimes they would say, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. So because you're traveling now and you're being exposed to other options, or what you would consider better options, these things can also influence your approach towards your own relationship that you already have. Because sometimes it's not that it's stressful, but because of the different exposure and the change of attitude, that's when the stress starts to come in. So if there wasn't a good foundation, trust me, it's going to be very difficult. And as a result, I would advise end it. And if not end permanently, take a break, right? Take a break. And then when you're able to come back together. And as I said that, communication is very important. If you're in a relationship that didn't start out long distance, if one person is going to leave, you have to communicate that with your partner, see where they stand, how they feel about it, how you yourself feel about it, because you might have to leave, right? And you don't know if you'll be able to manage being in a long distance relationship. So all these emotions and feelings have to be communicated clearly so a proper decision can be made. Do we put things on hold until I finish? For example, do I put things on hold until I finish my studies? Do I put things on hold, or do we continue? We try to visit each other, we communicate, plan how you're going to work through this. But if that's not possible, just take a break. And in my country, we like to say, what is for you cannot be
For somebody else.
well, it cannot be for somebody else, right? So if it's for you, put it on hold. God will keep that one for you until you're ready to come back together and move forward. So that's my answer.
Wow. Okay, thank you so much, Aline. Mrs. B, if you have something to add.
Yeah, I think they answered it well. But I'd like to add a twist to it, because the relationship is not defined. What if they are married? Because
Right.
and
That too.
yeah, because Mr. Adrian actually nailed it. A lot of time, most of the issues actually starts because there was no strong foundation. Every relationship goes through challenges. Long distance or short distance,
Right.
there will be a time where you feel stressed. That's just the truth. There will be a time where you feel like, oh, the connection is not there. There will be a time where you feel like, oh, this needs to be worked on. But if the foundation is not well laid, there is usually the approach of I can opt out anytime. The approach of, well, I don't need to go through this because there are other options. So I think I would like to build on the fact that the foundation actually needs to be laid. Because what if you're married? We say, okay, we are stressed out, it's fading, then let's end it like that. So I think the foundation, building a strong foundation, is the main thing. And then communication as well, like Mr. Adrian also said. Because it could be a one-way thing. It could be, on your own part, you're saying, oh, it's fading, I'm not really feeling the communication, but you're just not I'm not feeling the connection, but you're not communicating it to your partner.
Right.
That, I think we need to work on this. So communication is key, and the foundation is key. And yeah, so not to flog it, I think that's it.
All right, thank you so much. I hope we are taking down some notes. Communication and the foundation, they are important. All right. So please, once again, if you have more questions, just slide them into my DM. Okay. So moving on to the next question. All right. This one is like a two-part question. So the first one says, how will I know when I have found the perfect spouse for me? And then the other part says, are we supposed to be actively looking for a spouse or wait for God to bring a spouse to us?
All right.
Can I answer the second part first? I want to try to answer the second part first. You can disagree with me. A lot of times we're waiting for, it reminds me of that story of when the floods came and the man said, I'm waiting for God to rescue me. And the boat came. The people told him to leave his house. He said, no, I'm waiting for God to rescue me. The boat came and he said, nope, I'm waiting for God to rescue me. The helicopter came when he was on his roof. He said, nope, I'm waiting for God to rescue me. And he eventually died. And when he went to heaven, he said, God, why didn't you rescue me? And God said, well, I sent you a boat. I sent you warning. I sent you a helicopter and you didn't leave.
Right.
So when we're waiting, we have to be careful with waiting for God to send us somebody, because if you don't know what to look for or the signs to look out for, you can actually miss your person because I'm waiting for God to give me my partner.
Right.
Not saying that we shouldn't, take the man that God sends for us, but how are we going to know that this is the man that God sends for us? The first part. What's the first part?
Could you repeat the question again? I got so caught up in her response, I forgot the question.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
The part was saying, how will I know when I have found the perfect spouse for me?
All right. So before I answer the first one, to piggyback on what my wife has said, when you're waiting, the Bible says faith without works is dead. And so you cannot be saying you're waiting for someone, but you're not dating, you're not going in any setting to meet anybody. It's like you want somebody to show up in your house and say, I am the one that God sent. You have to go out there, interact with people. And as my wife said, you have to know the signs and what to look out for to know that this is the one that the Lord is leading into your direction. And how will you know that this is the one? I would say there isn't any one way of knowing, one specific way of knowing, because what worked for me might not necessarily be what works for you. But in my case, I can say that there came a time when I felt peace. I felt comfortable. And it's like, I'm not sure how to explain that feeling, but I knew within myself that, yes, this is the person I would want to marry. And I'm saying that as someone who is seen by many to be very picky, especially when it comes on to relationship, as someone who many people thought I wouldn't get married because maybe that's not for me, but it's just that I wasn't rushing it. I was just taking my time, doing what I need to do, setting myself up
Preparing
until
yourself.
our paths crossed.
Mhm.
You know, both of us were born in Jamaica, but guess where we met? In China. We met in China, you know? And so we just have to just pray and trust God. And when the right person comes, sometimes it's in a very untraditional way, unconventional way. It's not always the textbook way of happening,
Mhm.
you know? So we have to really be sensitive and know, in spite of all that's happening around, this is the person I really believe. And you will have that peace within you with that person.
And in the time that you're waiting, just to add quickly, make sure that you are not just waiting for somebody to come into your life and make your life better.
Right.
Make sure that you make your life better. Make sure that you make yourself happy, because the person that's coming isn't coming to make you happy. You need to make sure that you're happy and you're prepared for the man or woman that God is sending to you.
Mhm.
Right? It's not, the person's not supposed to come to be. A lot of people always say, oh, this is my better half. But why are you not a good whole? Why do you need
Right.
somebody to
be
make
a
you,
better half.
a better half of yourself? You need to be a good whole, so
Right.
that when the person comes, they know this, I'm at peace. Right? So I'm looking at the comments quickly. Somebody said, should we accept all dates? Outside of the Bible, listen, I love a good eat out. So go on a date, eat, have some fun. It's how you get to know people. It's how you get to know people, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
I would like to add that yes, I'll pick up on what Mrs. Lindsay said, that in the time of waiting, don't just wait and be less busy, you know.
Mhm.
Remember we touched on it, I think it was the first week or second week of this boot camp, that develop yourself, you know. We talked elaborate about developing yourself. So I think it's important. And then regarding how to know the person when it comes, I think it's not just a question of how to know the person. It's a question of have you built that relationship with God such that you know how He speaks to you, even in little
Right.
things. Because a lot of people are waiting for that big supernatural, my son, this man is your husband, you know, which shouldn't be, you know. And then you see people giving their names to prophets, giving names of, you know, suitable suitors to prophets, and then you are wanting a prophet to pick for you, which is not supposed to be. Because if you've
Right.
built a relationship and a fellowship with God, you know how He speaks with you on everyday basis, you know. And the best way He speaks with us, you know, is witness in our spirit, which gives unto us peace, you know, which comes to what Mr. Adrian said, you know. And that was one of the major way God spoke to me, even regarding my husband. You know, there is this inner peace that is unexplainable, you know.
Right.
It defiles all odds a lot of times. So yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Thank you so much. The V's and the Lindsays. Thank you so much. All right. So I'll read our next question. So this one, they are from two different people, but I think we can just put them in together and answer them together. So the first one says, what is the percentage of financial support a woman should give to her spouse, regardless of whether she's doing better than him financially or not? Okay, so we just start with that first part.
Can you take it again, please? Sorry.
What is the percentage of financial support a woman should give to her spouse, regardless of whether she's doing better than him financially or not?
Okay. I'm going to take this one. All right. So my simple answer is 100%. We both give 100%. And, even before we got married, but we were getting closer to that point where I would have proposed. But we got to a point where if I have money, she had money. If she had money, I had money. And we didn't have to worry, And that's how it has always been. We both give our 100%, because we have different jobs, we have different situations. Right now, I'm just a student. My wife is the one that's working, and what should happen if we say 50%? She gives 50%. We have 2 kids as well. Where am I going to get the other 50% from?
That's it. That's it. And this is my partner financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically. My support is always 100% for him, right? I can't whichever aspect it's in, if I'm only giving a part, that means the family is suffering.
Right.
I've never looked at him and thought, well, you're the man, so you're supposed to be doing more or giving more, because to me, that's not how it works, right? I'm supposed to be, what is it, his burden bearer? His helpmate. That's it.
Right.
So I have to give 100%, just the same way he gives 100%.
Right.
Yeah,
so I think that's our short answer.
Yeah, and I actually think it's actually a question of oneness, because when you get to a point of, oh, it's my money, then should I give 50% out of my money? It should be our money, because we are one. Scripture talks about how you come together and 2 will become 1. So it's one unit, it's a team, it's one family, and everything goes into the same purse. And then we assign, okay, is this for saving? Is this for the children? Yeah, so that's it.
Wow. Okay, thank you. And I'm seeing the comment section. Okay, so the next part, it says, with finances, can each person in marriage have their own personal accounts aside from the joint accounts?
Oh, yes, I am all for that. I am all for that. And and I think that approach works well, and I think that approach can save a lot of marriages, because a lot of marriages end because of financial issues. So if you can come together and agree that from our salary we will deposit this amount to the joint account from each person, and the joint account is for family, business, whatever. You have your own little personal balance left to do whatever you want without feeling guilty or feeling like you're depriving the family. That can really help, So I'm all for that as well. But it shouldn't be that you have your personal account, and when you should be, contributing a fair portion to the family account, you're trying to keep everything, especially if you think the other person makes more money, and they shouldn't have a problem. You're not saying that they should give more, but you're saying that they shouldn't have a problem, because they have it to supplement if you fall short on your end. That's where problems will come in. But aside from that, I'm for having your own little personal account. So do your own little thing, go on trips, eat out, so eat something nice, do whatever you want to do without feeling guilty of depriving your family,
Yeah, yeah. I also think that where this question is coming from sometimes is, we've seen couples that have a secret account, and then they are doing their own thing, probably building a house, just doing something personal that the family does not know about, So that's why some people say, okay, let's have joint accounts to prevent that secrecy and that, yeah. So I think it's not just about the having one bank account, really. It's about the accountability that comes into our finances, you know, even if, because sometimes I might be working in a different firm, he's working in a different firm, and the firm did, it requires that we have separate accounts because of where we're working, you know. So it's about being open and being accountable, you know, that, okay, this is what this money is meant for, and there is no secret account somewhere, you know, putting the family at risk or something. And then you see some people, there's just a lot of twists to it, but I believe the main answer is accountability, financial accountability.
All right. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. So whilst we are on money talks, a sister just sent me a question which says, where can we meet rich men that love the Lord?
Funny enough, I saw a place, top 10 list to meet rich men. I don't know if they will love the Lord. Golf courses, because you know they like to golf. Rich men like to golf. So if you hang out at a golf course, if you like jazz or art museum, art galleries, they like to purchase art. Usually they've got money.
So you put on your best dress and just hang around.
They like jazz music as well. So any type of jazz area. What was it? What's the other place?
I don't know.
I think that's all
But
I
if
can
they
remember.
love the Lord, that's the part we don't know about.
I don't know if they love the Lord, but I'll know that they'll have some money.
Wow. Yes, the sisters are going there. They said they are going there. Thank you. All right. So the next question, it says, how do you deal with a man? I think the ladies are sending more questions, and the guys, the gentlemen, it's okay. How
Guys,
do you
where
deal
are you?
Please, your questions, it's okay. How do you deal with a man who doesn't want to start with friendship first before a relationship?
Is he just gonna marry you just like that? Like that's it? I mean, because I feel like that's where the relationship is, right? We're just gonna get married. How do you not be friends with somebody? How do you know each other?
It won't work. It won't. Yeah. Go ahead, sis.
The way I dealt it, because I actually have personal experience. Someone was asking me out before my husband, and I told him that I wanted us to be friends first because I didn't know him. You know, I wanted us to be friends and everything. He said, no, he wants more than friendship. Well, I persuaded him several times that each time he approached me, you know, I would say, let's be friends. He said, no. I had to call it off that, see, you're not serious with what you really want.
And I mean, I think that the first step into a relationship is getting to know someone, which is what you do with your friends. You get to know your friends, right? And because if you don't have a friendship, if you're not friends with this person, how can you be in a relationship with them? You don't know them, there's no connection, nothing for you to connect on. We're just gonna dive right in and say, oh, we're dating, and then what? And get married, and then how do you get to know each other?
And you know, a lot of people actually think marriage is all rosy. Yes, marriage is beautiful, but what actually keeps you going a lot of time is actually the friendship, you know. When the chips are down and everything, there are times challenges come. You guys can laugh about it, can joke about it as friends. So if the friendship is not there, no, a lot is wrong.
And then even beyond even beyond the now, in the future, when the relationship or the not romance, but the
butterfly feeling.
When you get older,
when you're older,
and the intimacy is
okay,
not
when you're
so-
older and the sex is gone, now can I sit with this person on my porch or outside and have a conversation with this person? Can we lay in bed together and have a conversation? Right? That's what the friendship is about. You need to be able to talk with this person, not just
And
about
fun stuff.
household things, or, oh, we need to buy this or we need to get this for our house, but really actually communicate with this person. Adrian and I mean, honestly, if sometimes people see us and they think like, are these two people crazy? Because we're constantly laughing with each other. And it's just, sometimes it's nothing, but we will be laughing for hours. For just hours, we're sitting around just talking and laughing with each other, and it has nothing to do with what do the kids need, what do we need to get. It has nothing to do with that, but just us two as people, individuals, what we like, talking about what we like, talking about our past,
some simple
everything.
things, anything, just like friends. When you're out with your friends, you'll sit with a lot of people, they're married, they'll go out, they can sit with their friends and talk for hours and laugh for hours, but they cannot do it at home with their partner, and your partner should be the first person you are able to do that with.
You got when you are in a relationship with somebody, you have to think, who do you want to tell when something happens? You heard a joke at work today. Do you think, oh, I got to tell my best friend this, or, oh, I got to go home, I can't wait to get home and tell my partner this is hilarious, or this made me feel uncomfortable, this made me feel, you have to have that, that friendship with your partner, so that you can run home to them and tell them, this is hilarious, this is what I heard. You know what I mean? My gossip buddy. Don't tell me anything, because if you don't want anybody else to know, don't tell me, because my husband's gonna know.
Oh, wow. Oh. All right, thank you so much. Okay. Please keep the chat box alive, people. Don't sleep, okay? And the next question now, I think now we are moving to in-laws. Okay, and it says, in a situation whereby the in-laws are too involved and your spouse isn't always bothered about it, how do you tackle this issue and let him know it's an issue? Run.
Someone said run. Someone in the chat box said run. Well, I would say that while the on Cloud Lindsay are getting ready, I would say that each partner should deal with their side of their family side, if I'm putting it the right way. For instance, I will deal with my parents, I will deal with my sibling, while my partner will deal with his parents and his sibling. It's safe that way, because if I should probably call my mother-in-law out, of course, there will be war. I can't do that because I respect her, I can't do that. But if my husband should tell her that, mommy, see, I don't like that, please don't talk to her that way, she can still receive it, she can still receive it and see reasons with him, so I think each partner should deal with his or her family side. And in a situation where the other partner is not really seeing, he's feeling that, well, it's not that serious, it's not much of a big deal, I think that I really believe in mentorship. So I think if you can call someone who the person respects and let him, reason with that person, So if the person respect that person, the person can make him see reasons and say, no, what you're doing is not actually right. It's putting your family at risk and everything. Yes, that can help. Also, prayer too can help, because a lot of time the hearts of a king is in the hands of God. God can make him see reasons in every way. It could be in a discussion, it could be through a message, it could be even God can speak to him, or her personally, and he could have a dream. Just God can communicate what you're trying to say to that person, instead of you just going over and over about it. Yeah.
All right.
I wanted to add a little on that one. One of the things we discussed, my wife and I discussed from very early, even before we got married, was that we are in this together and it is you and me.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, as I would say, when night comes, it's you and me who will be sleeping on the bed, not us and the family. So when we have issues, we try not to, we don't involve family. And if something they're aware about and would like to get involved, as Mrs. V says, you let the partner deal with their family. You don't address the other family because it might cause further issue. You express your issue with your partner and let them address it, and because God is a God of order in everything, and there are protocols that we have to observe, to try to avoid other problems and to avoid the family being separated and estranged from each other. So that is the first thing you need to communicate with your partner, that you are married to each other, you're not married to the whole family. And when we have marital issues, it should be between us and not between us and family members.
Yeah, and I would like to add on that too, that a lot of time people make the mistake of tearing down their partner. For instance, I'm friends with my siblings, and then I now, probably while we are gisting, I say something that is not so honorable about my husband to my siblings. Of course, that is not right. That's where my siblings will not respect my husband. So I should present my husband in an honorable way to my family. Even if you're just gisting, even if you're just jesting, don't make your husband look dishonorable, before your family. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We are learning. And I just received a question which says, so the person is saying, my friends always say that a husband will not find me in my room. I should make myself seen and available. Where and how can a Christian lady make herself seen? I think part of the question has been answered, but I think we would want you to elaborate, where can Christian single ladies or even men make yourself seen or available?
Someone is saying our friend is right. I would say that the answer is just in community, and community can come in different ways. Community can even be online. It could be we are in the tech age. I think we were talking about it, during the week. We are in the tech age, and be online, be on Instagram. Your Instagram should not be private. Be even meetings like this, attend conferences in church, attend church services, and once the service is done, don't be the first to leave the church. Meet with people. Someone is saying join choir, join a team. I think that actually is very valid as well. If you can sing, join a team, or if you can usher, join a team. Let people see you serving. And another thing is, beyond just going to places and everything, I would like to say that what exactly are you doing presently? And this brings me back to, okay, what's your purpose in life? Are you actively working on it? Because those things actually puts us on spotlights. If you're actively working on something major in your life, people get to see you. Because, for instance, if I'm called, into love and relationship and stuff, and I get to organize Zoom meetings, I get to organize conferences, I get to organize seminars. If I was single, for instance, people will get to see me that, who is this girl doing love and relationship? People get to know that there's someone doing something, and there's someone who is busy, doing the work of the Father. So I think even beyond going places, being in a community, yes, it's important. But don't just sit and say, okay, I'll just go attend the meeting. Yes, you can meet someone, but you to get busy, because when you get busy, you get to be on the spotlight as well.
All right. And I just want to share my experience with my wife on this one. As you said, community is very important, and it can be virtual or physical. And you don't really have to just go out there and say, I'm going to put myself here because I'm trying to find somebody. Just get involved in communities, different groups, and just be yourself, do what you do best, and then you will cross paths. For my wife and I, where we had our first interaction on WeChat, because both of us were active members in a WeChat group, in a Jamaican WeChat group. And if either of us weren't active, it would not have happened. And we ended up from that bigger group to a smaller group of friends, and until it narrowed down to just us. So if I wasn't active in the group, because we have many people in the group who aren't active, they're just there for information and important things. And then a lot of people and a lot of people, you have another set who are very active, always talking, always giving information, always helping, always giving advice. That's what both of us used to do. We share what we know in the groups, and we just ended up in a smaller group until we ended up together. So a lot of people think, oh, we have Jamaican background, we must have met in Jamaica, or we knew each other. No, we did not know anything about each other until we started being active in the Chinese WeChat group. So just get involved in different communities, online, in person, and just do what you need to do, and you will attract each other eventually.
And make sure you have a nice profile picture, because that's the first thing they're gonna see, right? Don't put a tree or some, nature
Or
as
a
a profile
cat.
picture. Put yourself as a profile picture so they can see you.
WeChat, I'm coming.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope they are learning, the singles. I know we are learning, and we are going to do better. All right. So
To add too, because I've seen a lot of singles to wear rings, and I'm like, are you married? Well, wearing ring on the wedding. So if a guy should see you at first, you'll be like, I think this person is married. So what the thing is, everything that will probably put off. Yes, you can wear fashion ring, but when you're wearing it on your wedding finger, people will think you're married. So the things that can put off people, that can probably give people distance, just try to avoid it as well. Be involved in the group chats and everything. Yeah.
all right. Wow. Thank you so much, Deaconess. And our time is fast spent. So we will move on to the next question, which says, what is the acceptable amount of time a man can date a lady before getting married?
An acceptable amount of time. First of all, a man knows if he wants to marry you on the first date. That's my belief. He knows if he wants to marry you, because based on the conversations that you have, especially if this man is ready to get married, if he's prepared and ready to get married, he knows exactly what he's looking for. And he's going to try to have those conversations with you on the first date, financial conversations, children. He's whatever he is looking for, he's going to try to have those conversations. And if those conversations are not happening on the first date with you, then he's probably, or at least the second date. Look at the second date.
Or third.
Within those first 3 dates, if he's not having those conversations with you, he's probably already decided that you're not somebody that he could marry, but you are probably somebody that he could pass the time with until he meets his wife. I think men usually, just the same way as women, oh, this man, I want to marry this man. But so he knows, and he knows if he wants to marry you. Now, the acceptable dating period, Zaki.
We have a guest.
Welcome. It's good to see you.
Say hi.
All right.
The acceptable amount of time.
Hi.
Hi. Good evening.
The acceptable amount of time, I mean, as long as it's not beyond 5 years.
Well, let me help you with
But
that. Because I think it depends on your age. Because if you're younger, maybe you have a little bit more time to get to know, to get a little bit more mature and know exactly what you want. But then when you're older, you don't have a lot of time. I know I have a friend, I think she dated for like 3 months or a few months before the guy proposed to her, and they're married and they're doing well, and you couldn't tell if they dated for 3 months or 3 years, and then you have the opposite where people date for a long time, and as soon as they get married, it's like all hell breaks loose. Everything is just going bad afterwards. They dated for 5 years, everything was perfect. But as soon as they get married, suddenly they're having all kinds of problems. So one of the things I would say is that when you're dating someone, if the conversation is not going beyond, I love you, you're so beautiful, it's just all these lovey-dovey every single day. Good morning, beautiful, good night, honey. And you're not having meaningful conversations. It means somebody is not taking the relationship seriously.
right.
Until you start talking about, do you want to have kids? Where would you like to live? Things like that. Where do you want to settle? The deep questions, Yes, baby. Okay. Those deep questions to show that the person is serious. You date as long as it takes to see that the person is serious about you before you take the next step.
Exactly.
For some people, that's very quick because they know what they want from the beginning. For some people, it take a little bit more time. But then people don't have 10 years to wait on someone for marriage.
And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to show those your flaws. Because your flaws are going to come out after you get married, right? So if you are hiding those things, oh, I don't want him to know know this about me. Like, as we are in a long distance relationship, when we were dating, a lot of times I would fall asleep in conversations. So, I mean, he knew that I snore. So he had to decide whether or not he could spend the rest of his life sleeping with somebody, sleeping beside me, right? So I mean, don't be afraid to show your flaws, right? Especially those flaws that will probably run over into marriage, and then they'll come up later on in life, and like, oh, I didn't know this about you. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't think I want to do this anymore. But so, I mean, and again, if the person is for you, they look beyond your flaws, because snoring is the least of his worries.
Yeah, I think the main thing, actually, one of the main things is having meaningful conversations, because and if that's why I'm even scared about using the word date, because this thing about dating, if going into the world, people date and they can date you for 5 years and say, okay, I'm done dating you, and they pack their load and then they move to the next person, and the major conversations, you're not having it, so I think it boils down to, okay, are you having major conversations? Okay, we plan to get married. What are the things we need to put in place before we get married? How long will it take? And for women too, don't be scared, because a lot of women, when they propose, they're like surprised. And it's like, okay, so didn't you know you're going to get married to the person? Why are you so surprised that he proposed to you? Yes, the proposal is good, but it shouldn't be a shock in that sense, because you should have been having conversations about getting married, okay, for how long, what are things you need to put in place? Because especially for women, women don't have a time on their side, because a man can be 50 and still get married, but a woman at 50, his chances are very slim. So if you're just with a guy, you're guessing, oh, maybe, let me just wait, and you're not bold enough to ask that, okay, so where is this going to? We've been dating for 2 years, where is it going to? Should I move on? So yeah, I think that's it from me.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much. We are left with a few minutes, but I think we'll be able to answer about 2 questions. Okay. So this one says, my spouse and I have different love languages. So how do we balance this and be on the same page?
Why do you want to be on the same page? Why wouldn't you want to have 2 different love languages? That's the best thing. I mean, you know what? I think that it's our differences that make our relationship amazing, because you get to try new experiences. Adrian likes DC and I like Marvel movies. When we go to the movie theater, whatever is showing, I enjoy his, he enjoys my movies. Right? He likes to do adventurous things. I'm more of the quiet, laid back type of activities. One week he's climbing a rock wall and I'm videoing him. The next week we're out at a nice restaurant having a lovely evening. It makes for a fun relationship. You get to try new things, new activities. Your love language, mine is I think words of affirmation. And he says physical touch too, but I don't know. That's what he says. And his is we talked about this, I can't remember, but it makes for your home to be a little bit more lively. You don't have to have the same love language, because if we're both sitting here complimenting each other, oh, you're so beautiful, no, you're so handsome, how boring is that going to get after a while? Right? Let him tell me that I'm beautiful and I'll go out and buy him a gift. Right? Let him buy me a gift and I'll tell him how wonderful he is for thinking about me and for buying me a gift, because he's the best husband ever. Right? There's no point. We don't need to have the same love language, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. I think most of the issue is because people feel like I tend to communicate it's easy for me to communicate my love language. For instance, I'm a quality time kind of person, and I want to spend more time with my husband, and his love language is act of service. So for me to give that act of service, it's me going beyond my comfort zone. I think that's where the question is from, because people tend to stay within their comfort zone. Oh, I'm a gift kind of person. Then I keep giving gifts to my husband, not necessarily communicating in their language. So if it requires going out of your comfort zone to communicate their language to them, I think by all means do it, because it's more fun and it's more fun doing that. Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so I think we will take one more question. Okay. Oh, I still have more questions, but I think we'll just choose one. It says, when love fades completely, how can you rekindle it back to avoid a divorce or live a boring life? When love fades, how can you rekindle it back to avoid a divorce or live a boring life?
I would say the very word rekindle, you go back to basics, go on dates, give gifts. You know what your partner used to like when everything was going well. Go back to revisit some of those things, because the love fades. I mean, you should not love your partner because of
Conditionally.
what they do, or what they have, because when those things are gone, then the love will go with those things, And we hear oftentimes that love is a choice. It's not just a feeling, because feelings come and go. But when the feelings are gone, you still have to choose to love your partner, because this is the person you made a commitment to before God, and you have to do the honorable thing and honor that commitment, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health. Some people, as soon as the partner gets sick, is like the love just goes and goes until it's completely gone. So that's one of the first thing. Before it gets to the part where the love can fade, set the foundation where your love is your choice to love this person no matter what, and then it might not get to that point. But if for some reason it does get to that point and you really want it to continue to work, you have to just revisit some of the basics, and try also revisit some of the things that you think are possible reasons for the love fading away, and see how best you can work on those things and, take it from there. And don't expect things to just pick up back suddenly overnight. It is going to be a process, and it takes time, it takes it takes commitment before you can get back to where you really want to get in that relationship, should it get to the point of fading away.
That's it too. Like, your love should be unconditional. I don't love you because of this, or I don't love you. I don't love you because you're beautiful. I love, like, you know what I mean? There shouldn't be limits on loving your partner, because when you have set limits, that's when it starts to fade. Because when the beauty fades, it's like, you're not beautiful anymore, so I don't really love you. Right?
Not
So you have
attractive
to, you're
anymore.
no longer attractive. You have to wake up every day choosing your partner, choosing to love your partner over and over, regardless of whatever happens. I always said to Adrian, now listen, ladies in the comments, okay? No matter what, the love that I have for him will always be there. Even if, God forbid, our relationship should end, it won't be because I don't love him. And I won't stop loving him overnight.
Overnight? So like over a few months,
over a period of time.
years.
If anything, you know what I mean? Because I don't love him for, I love him for who he is as a person.
Right.
And I chose him for better or for worse. I chose to love him for the good and for the bad. Well,
The ugly.
yeah, for everything, right? I chose to love him because one of the reasons is because of how he loved me, right? So no matter what happens, I don't see myself not loving him. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. Thank you so much, family. Unfortunately, our time is up. And please, let's just show some love. Say thank you to the Lindsays and to the V's for their time. I hope we have learned and we are still learning. So yeah, thank you so much, the Lindsays, the V's. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. And everyone for joining, for your comments and your questions. God bless you. And keep joining the School of Love, Dating, and Marriages on Wednesday.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are blessed. All right. So please, people, don't leave. We have prayers from 9:30 to 10. So we will just continue and move on to the prayers. I'll hand over to